Hey, good morning. It's Monday once again, January the 12th. How are you? Off to a new year. Can you believe this? 2026. Nearly halfway through the month already. Things have been calm. It's the dead of winter for us. Hope you're doing well. And might I add, it's cold. I yawned this morning for a split second until I opened the front door. And it was a rude awakening. 29 as you're waking up and headed out your front door this morning. And a high of only 52 is what we expect. So we got cold weather for a couple of days here. There's been lots of talk of forecasters out there that, bottom line, I haven't seen anything that indicates snow for our area next weekend. It's not happening from what I see. So a lot of that, if it were true, we would have it. Haven't seen it, not going to happen. At least not at this point. Something would have to drastically change. But we do have cold weather today and tomorrow, and then eventually warming up. We'll give you the complete forecast here in just a moment. Let's go out now, get our good word for the day. We all need that as we go to Collinsville. Brother Ben is back this morning. He'd been on a little quick vacation. He's back.
Just the other night, I looked down at my phone, and the battery indicator said 1%. And of course, I needed to do something important on it, and so I made this mad dash for the living room charging spot. But as happens a lot of times around my house with a wife and 5 kids, the charger was gone. And so I turned around, headed to the kitchen charging spot, and guess what? It was gone too. I'm like, what in the world? My phone could turn off at any moment. I needed it, and so I made my way to the bathroom charging spot, right? 3rd time's the charm. And thankfully it was. I grabbed that cable, plugged in my phone, and saved it from imminent death. But that cable didn't just save my phone from death. It began to grow the charge in my phone's battery. And it quickly went from 1% to 2%, and then up and up it went. I came back a while later, it was at 50%. And then before the night was over, my phone was at 100%. You see, that charging cable didn't just keep my phone from dying, it grew its power capacity. And in Colossians 1, Apostle Paul says the way, it certainly rescues us from death. It is one of those things. He rejoices that the Colossians had heard the gospel and professed faith in Christ and now had hope laid up for them in heaven. Praise God, they had been saved from sin's penalty of hell. But he looked beyond their salvation. The gospel didn't just rescue them from death, although again, that's a huge thing. He said it had also produced great growth in their lives. He remarked how the gospel had borne fruit and how that fruit was increasing all the more. You see, the gospel doesn't just save us from death. It produces growth in us. Once it saves us, it doesn't stop working. It keeps producing fruit in our character, deepening our love, expanding our understanding of grace. You see, the gospel that saved you yesterday is actively transforming you today. It keeps reshaping you to reflect God's character until you're perfected when you finally see Jesus face to face. So, beloved, don't ever stop marveling at the gospel, and don't ever stop leaning into the gospel transformation. God wants to save you and grow you. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that all the way from Collinsville. We see we're getting some cooler temperatures there in Tennessee. 22 this morning on the front porch. That's East Tennessee. My, oh my. Again, we welcome you in. It's a new year as we are often going. Not a lot goes on weekends during January because of the weather. It's dew and cold. Things will start heating up in a couple of months, and we'll be back out every weekend at some event. Happens every year. It'll be on the way. I watched a video this morning. There's always one guy at the top of the totem pole. Go to McDonald's. Chicago is where we went, to where the CEO of all the McDonald's in America goes, look, it's really getting to where we can't do business in Chicago anymore due to the crime. Sounds like it's maybe an exit coming. Now, he didn't say that. He just said it is getting harder and harder to convince people to move to a town where there's lots of crime. That's generally what happens with that. It's tough. I realize that. We'll see what happens. Will McDonald's stay? But they have sort of put the word out, so to speak, there. Today, as you'll notice in the headlines, I put it up there, Trump has signed executive order beginning today, making English the official language of the United States. Now, the bad part about what I just said was he said it was an executive order. I'll remind you, and I've said this many, many, many times, when you do executive orders, when someone else comes into office later, they can be taken back. Congress, where are they? We'll see. I'm not seeing much reaction from them, and that should be a law, not just an executive order. He is in the right path, but we do need Congress to step up and follow through with this, do we not? Does anyone remember watching Field of Dreams? Now, I never watched The West Wing. I understand it was a big show. But Little House on the Prairie star, remember Laura? Her husband. He has been accused, and he was the guy. Let me show you a picture of him so you remember him. This guy on the right here. Right there. Remember here from Field of Dreams? He was like the brother-in-law, I think, of Kevin Costner, if I remember right. He has been accused, going back a couple of years, of sexual misconduct with a child that was on a TV show. Now, again, at this point, this is accusations. This doesn't mean it's true, but they've taken the child to a doctor. A formal complaint has been filed. We don't know whether it's true or not, but as we dig back in this, he also was accused in 94 and 2012 of something. She is a very, very big, huge critic of Trump. Did her husband do it? No, he hadn't been found guilty, but there are charges with this. We'll see what comes out of it. Happened in New Mexico. We'll keep you posted as that develops there. I watched a video here, and I'll just show you a quick picture of him. That guy right there in the middle. He is an Oregon State Senator. His name is Kasey Jamay. We're going to go with that. And what he's attempting to do is tell ICE they're not welcome in the state of Oregon. The problem was his English was not really good, and it took minutes upon minutes for him to tell them they're not welcome in the state of Oregon. I'll leave it at that. You fill in the blanks. Google Oregon. Find out more about it. You'll see. Secretary, he's busy today. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. We've heard about all of this, but he is now in negotiations. Greenland officials in Denmark. Trump is serious about, putting an American flag up there. Negotiations. They say no for now. Trump has been quoted as saying it's either the United States or another foreign country. He wants it. We'll see what becomes of that. Now, if you were to live in Washington State, and I'll show you, with all this going on in Minnesota, and we're starting to see that Minnesota was not the only state in America that had, where people were making just millions off of daycare centers illegally, and either turning around and using the funds for something they shouldn't. But we have a Washington State Senator, Lisa Wellman is her name. It hasn't been passed, but this is what she is up to. She has filed legislation to hide information about daycares and the operators from the public in the state of Washington. Anybody smell anything? I do. Hopefully this will be stopped. I'm not sure how left of center Washington is, state that is. Can't hide from the taxpayer. Just doesn't work that way. Usually when there's a hint with this president, something becomes of it, doesn't it? As we saw in Venezuela. Boats, he took them out. He is now hinting, Mexico, get ready. He's getting ready to do something to those making drugs, the cartels on land in Mexico. Bet your bottom dollar something is coming. Don't know how soon, how quick, but something is being done. Again, that's Mexico, where he's warning the cartel he is coming. Ramaswamy, do y'all remember him? And it's each year there's elections in different states, but coming up this fall, November, Ohio will have their big governor's race. Ramaswamy, is one of the main leads for this. He has picked his running mate. It'll be Rob McCauley, who will be running with him on that ticket. We'll see there. Good luck to him. He made a big impression, did he not? He's smart. Again, that's going to be November the 3rd of this year. I watched this, and let me show you a picture here. This guy. This should literally be taken serious. Now, he didn't say, but he said it without saying it. A threat to someone in Washington. He's made it to Washington and claims he's going to do what everybody else should have done. Again, he didn't say it, but and if you read the comments in this, it sure suggests he is going after someone at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm sure the FBI is on top of that. My, oh, my. This, and we meant to talk about this on Friday. It's very important, but we have weather to deal with on Friday as we look at some headlines here. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, if you are on public assistance, meaning you're getting any form of government money, whether that's food stamps, whether you get it for child care, you will not be able to wire money out of the United States. Okay, there's a tie-in. It is rumored that $700 million of cash and things were sent to other countries through the airport. They're looking to stop that. Needs to be, I believe. Hilton Garden Inns. Y'all remember that little issue we had there? And they took down the sign at the ones that wouldn't rent rooms to ICE agents. We have an employee of a Hilton hotel in Dallas telling exactly where people are, ICE agents, and what hotel it is. And she claims she doesn't care if she gets fired. Meanwhile, in downtown Minneapolis, and it's $500 a night at this hotel. $500. The street is filled with protesters out front, beating drums, yelling loud music, bullhorns, screaming all night in an attempt to keep the ICE agents up where they can't sleep. There's only one problem with their plan. No one was really smart enough to realize that there are no ICE agents staying at that hotel. They're just keeping people up that paid $500 a night to stay there. I would not be happy. Can't be good for business, and where's the law when you need them to stop this? They're probably not allowed to go there to remove them, are they? Let's see what else is happening this morning. And I told you I thought this was wrong in the beginning. The ICE agent that was involved in Minneapolis with the woman with the car that had to fire the weapon to protect himself. There was a local ABC affiliate that released the guy's name, the ICE agent's name. Of course, they're going to go after they realized who he was, look up his name. He had to have tons of police protection to go in to retrieve items from the home so they could live somewhere else. Isn't that awful? Yet they're allowing it to happen. Something needs to be done. I don't have the answers. We talked about the dentist and his wife that were murdered in their home. Y'all remember this? And the two children were found down the hall safely. They have arrested the ex-husband for the murder of both of them. And I guess there's cases of this all across the U.S. I don't know a whole lot about it, but you have an ex that maybe didn't want to get a divorce, who's held a grudge all these years. Well, it sounds as if he took his plan to action. 2 people lost their lives over this. Now, I don't know how you feel about this. This has been, and weirdly enough, it's been brought up in general conversation to me over the last 3 to 4 days of interest rates. You go to a bank, it's anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10% interest on whatever you're borrowing, depending upon how your credit loan is. When it comes to credit cards and businesses that loan money, it can go up as high as, I think, 32% they can go up to? Credit cards will eat you alive to where you only pay the interest each month and never really touch the balance, and it goes on and on for years, so they just can't afford it. Now, there's 2 ways to look at this. You should not buy something that you know you can't afford. You should not overdo it. Don't get me wrong. Trump is, and they're mad. They're real upset. He's wanting to pass legislation to where for 1 year, credit card companies, any of these people can't charge but 10% interest to help the American people out. And then go see where it goes after that 1 year. They're fighting this. 32% interest is a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. People should pay their bills, and that's why you go into a higher risk when you haven't made payments when you should. 32%, you'll never get out. And Joe, you sometimes got a point there. Come, Jesus, come. We're living in some troubled times, without a doubt. Let's see what else we've got happening this morning as we look at this. Oh, mortgage rates. This is good news. Just fell below 6%. They're at 5.99 for 30 years. Raise your hand if you've ever had to do a 30-year mortgage. Home prices have gotten so high nowadays, you almost need a 50-year one to be able to afford the payment. As we learn more about Minnesota, we learned, what was this, about a week and a half ago, that Tim Walz would not run for re-election due to the accusations of fraud. There's people stepping forward now left and right as far back as 2019 that are saying they were told to stand down, not to investigate any fraud schemes. Let it go, back away. There's nothing to see here. This is going to get ugly before it's all said and done. If it's done in one state, how many actually done this? And this was millions upon millions of dollars that you, the taxpayer, paid. Came in from federal help, which means it comes in from each state. Oh, and I know there's a few of you watching, oh, you're coming from Mississippi, and Mississippi receives the most. We do get a lot of federal there. Not a lot of jobs have come here. Hopefully one day that'll turn around. Now, Wyoming. When's the last time you passed a guy on a horse headed into town? And other lawmakers scratched their heads as well as this, wondering why this was done. But they have a lawmaker in Wyoming that is trying to make it legal, now get this, legal to ride a horse while intoxicated, to where an officer could not write you a DUI ticket for riding a horse if you were going to a bar. Now, you could still be ticketed for public intoxication and all other types of things, but they're trying to make it to where it specifically says you could ride a horse or a donkey, including, if you had it, a zebra. Okay, then. Let's see if that becomes law or not. Florida, already getting ready. February 11th will be the first day. As you'll know, last year was a big year for Florida when it came to executions. February the 11th is going to be the first in the state of Florida. It will be a guy, him and his brother, that were accused of killing a man. Just to give you background, it's always good to know what someone is accused of. Well, he's been found guilty at this point. They were in a bar. I think it was in the early 1990s. It may have been 1990 if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was 1990 when this happened. They met this guy in a bar. He was a traveling salesman. So the three of them, the two brothers and the traveling salesman, decided they wanted to go somewhere to smoke weed. So they go to a private location to smoke weed, and at some point the two brothers thought, well, let's just go ahead and rob him. Well, they did that. They shot him once in the chest. It didn't put him down. They ended up shooting him a couple of more times. Took all that he had on him. Then they drove back to his car that was still at the bar. They went in and had another round. Went to his car, cleaned out his possessions, and then went to using his credit card. They would be nabbed by the possessions. Back then, it wasn't as much video camera footage as there is now, but they tracked the credit card purchases to items they had in their home. Proved without a shadow of a doubt it was them. One brother made a deal. He gets life in prison. The other brother didn't. He will meet his maker February 11th for taking a man's life. We'll talk more about this. Mississippi, if you're not aware of this, made headlines this weekend. Major headlines. 6 people were killed in Clay County, Mississippi. This would be out to the west of West Point. 6 people were killed, including a 7-year-old child. No motive is known yet, but most of these, 4 of the 6 that were killed, were family of the man who did it. 2 others were also their lives taken. We don't know what triggered it. We'll talk more in detail about this at the beginning of the hour coming up at the Scotty Ray Report on a local event that's coming. We'll be right back with your weather forecast next.
Okay, so can we go over this just one more time? So when we buy a brand new air conditioner,
Environment Masters gives you the furnace for free.
But the catch is...
There's no catch, just free.
it's got to be like a cheap one, right?
No. And you get to choose between Linux or Train.
And all we have to do is buy a new air conditioner?
And Environment Masters gives you the furnace for free.
Can we go over this one more time?
J&J Tire and Muffler, located at 3420 8th Street, invites you by. And if you need a front-end alignment, make sure to try their new state-of-the-art alignment machine. No matter the size of your truck and car, J&J can align it. J&J also has touch-free mounting, laser wheel balancing. And as always, they provide preventive maintenance, including CV axles, shocks, struts, brakes. They carry the Nixon tire with free roadside hazard service, along with high-tread used tires. Locally owned and operated since 1978 in Meridian.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
Pam was talking about interest rates in the 1980. I think mine, when I had my home on State Boulevard Extension, was somewhere around 4%, 4.4, something like that years ago. My high interest rates. And y'all remember some of that during the 80s when it got up to 20%? Y'all remember all of that? Oof. Outrageous. Let's get into that forecast now as we look at this. Our record highs and lows. 1949, it was 82 today. Back in 62, it was a cool 3 degrees. That was cold, was it not? Today, we can expect 52 in Meridian, and it'll stay that way all the way toward Columbus Air Force Base, finally easing off at 50 at the state line. Basically the same down the river, 52, 53, and warming up to 53 there in Gulfport. A little warmer in Natchez at 55. Tonight's low will be cold, 29 in Meridian. And we'll see Philadelphia a tad warmer at 30, and then we drop back as you go through Louisville at 29, warming up there at the state line to around 31. They're around Iuka, Mississippi, 36 on the Gulf Coast. As we look at Bama today, 49 for high in Demopolis, a little cooler than here, and same in Birmingham. We'll see that basically all over Alabama, with Auburn coming in at 49 as well. As we look across this cooler weather looking at us right here, but way back to our west in California, we do see some warmer weather in the making. 52 today is what we're expecting. Again, 29 right now, and we'll see another 29 tonight. Very cold. Things start warming up a little bit tomorrow to a high of 59, low of only 40, and then we'll see 20s again on Wednesday night. 27, Thursday night, 25, and we're just staying right below the freezing degree mark most of these nights there. 31 on Friday, and we're down to 26 come Saturday night. It's going to be cold the next few nights with highs making the best of about 50. We got one day above it there, and we see that this trend stays with us all the way through about the 21st when we start seeing rain showers into the forecast there. A slight chance there, 21st, 22nd there. We won't start seeing 50s at night. Keep those animals warm. They need a little hay and a little extra stuff there as we go all the way through the 26th, back to the 60s. We go in on Friday the 23rd. Look at that, almost 70 in January. Doesn't even seem right, does it? Does not. As we look at this, our best times to fish today brought to you by your friends at Parker Wholesale. A major time to fish started at 6 today and will run through about 8 a.m. this morning. Another time begins at 11 o'clock. About 11:15 be out there. Be good for about an hour there. Sunrise happened at 6:56, and if you're headed off to the deer stand this morning, it's an average day to hunt. Weather's going to have northeast wind around 5 miles an hour. That's not bad. Major times to hunt today, 6:03 to 8:03, follows the fishing times pretty close. Now, minor times to hunt today is almost at high noon, 11:45 to 1 p.m. will be your next minor time to hunt. Sunrise 6:56. Sunset will hold off until 5:09 this afternoon. We're getting later and later in the day with daylight taking longer. I'm starting to see some sunshine through the window. As we go to Doc's Toyota radar, look at that. It's all clear in the great state of Mississippi. Nothing going on there. We look over to Georgia. We see some cooler weather there near Jacksonville, Brunswick. As we go up into these areas, always there's some snow that's fell a little bit in those areas. Nothing too major there happening this morning. Got to get way up here to see anything really going on. Back out to our west, a little bit of rain in Seattle, Washington. So that's a quick look at what's going on around the nation this morning. It's cool where we are. 27 in Conahatta, Mark says. Somebody throw another log on the fire. 28 in northern Smith County, John says. Brr. I'm telling you, it will slap you in the face if you have not opened up your door this morning. I was used to those gas logs, and I opened up the door, and it was like, whoa, ho, ho. Odie is in the house. We're making coffee. We're getting ready for the morning show. It gets underway at the top of the hour, beginning at 7. We can't do it without you. Join us, won't you? We'll be right back with all the headlines that's happened locally, a few fun things, all on the way at the top of the hour. Join us, won't you?